Hey, filmmakers, we are back, and as always, we're off the cuff. This podcast is an extension of the Greater Cleveland Urban Film Festival, or GCUFF, to better keep you connected all throughout the year, not just during festival time. We've decided to start this podcast and speak with filmmakers like our guest today. But it actually is festival time, ironically. It's right around the corner. GCUF happens every September, and this year it's happening September 15th through the 23rd. And you can find out all the information at
gcuff.org, gcuff.org.
What he said.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But today we have a treat for you. We are speaking with one of our first time filmmakers, first time submitting a project to GCUF. And I want to say this is your first film as well. Is that correct?
It is. Yes.
All right. So we are speaking with none other than Mr. Tom Dwyer, who is coming to us all the way from Hollywood. Woo! Wait. But not California.
Oh, okay.
Hollywood, Pennsylvania, you guys. Has anyone ever heard of it? If you have, if you know. If anyone has a cousin in Hollywood, we'll give you a prize. We'll give you a ticket to the film festival.
Maybe in post-production we'll put up a map and a pen and say it's right there.
Right there. So we got a lot of firsts here. First time filmmaker, first time in GCUF, and first time we've heard of Hollywood, Pennsylvania, or at least us two.
Yeah.
So we are excited to have you here with us, Tom. How are you today?
Oh, well, thank you. And I'm really happy and privileged to be a part of this festival. You know, Donna, I guess she's one of the top administrators of the Cleveland Festival.
She is the executive director of the festival and one of the co-creators.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, she saw our film when it was streamed at the Toronto Black Film Festival back in the fall. And she reached out to us, inviting us to come, which most of your filmmakers will know. That doesn't usually happen very much, where a festival comes and invites you. And I really took that as a compliment because Frank Bay and the story that we hope we've told well should be heard by everyone. And so I was so touched and deeply moved by that invitation. So it's really a pleasure for us to be a part of the festival.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure having you. And just to comment on that really quickly, Donna, I've joined Donna sometimes at other festivals where we will go and view films, and we're like, oh, this is great. Let's see if we can get this and bring the same energy to Cleveland. So we have been blessed to be able to do that at quite a few festivals and really go after some great projects such as yours. So I do want to delve into that while we're here. So Tom is so are you, I saw your credits that you're a producer. Are you also the director?
Yes, I'm a producer and the co-director. Our editor, Lisa Palatella, was also a director.
Okay, awesome. Oh, look, first time out, you got multiple credits and everything. Okay, Tom, I like it. We are here for it.
That's how they do it in Hollywood, man.
We are here for it. So
that's right. Hollywood way.
We applaud people who are telling Black stories. That is something that is a part of our mission. And so we do want to say kudos and hats off to you for that. But I wanted to ask you, because in the notes that I saw in the film, it said, I have made only one film in my life, and that film is Frank Bay, All My Dues Are Paid. So I just had to know, why were you compelled to produce and co-direct this film?
It started rather unusually. A friend of mine knew that I had been doing some acting in the Philadelphia area he came by my house one day and said, "Oh, have you ever heard of Frank Bay?" And I hadn't. And he said, "You need to make a movie about this man because he's such a great singer." And my immediate response was, "No way. That's too expensive making a movie, and it's too much work." But then about a week in,
And you couldn't even star as him.
that's right. Then what happened? It was one of these things that was serendipitous or divine. I can't tell you quite what it was. Within about a week, one day I had the TV on. I was doing work around the house, playing the blues channel, and I said, "Who is that?" And I went in, and it's Frank Bay. And I thought, "Whoa, this guy is really good." And I didn't know anything about Frank or his life at that point. But we reached out to Frank. I contacted a small group of filmmakers with whom I had worked and said, "Would you be willing to film us a small concert of Frank?" And they said yes. And that's how the whole thing began. But I didn't really know Frank very much at the beginning. At that filming, we over the weekend I discovered that Frank had been nominated for a Blues Music Award in Memphis. And I told my cinematographer that feels really important. I mean, I didn't know a lot about it, but I sort of knew that it had something. It was equivalent to the Grammys in soul and blues music. And I asked my cinematographer, "You want to follow Frank?" And he said yes. And I said, "You ever think about making a documentary film?" And he said, "No, it's too much work." And and I said, "Well, let's just see how this unfolds." And so we spoke to Frank, asking him whether he'd be willing to let us follow him for a couple of years. And he said, "What do you mean, to show what it's like to be a contemporary blues artist?" And I said, "Yeah. First, you're a wonderful performer. But beyond that, I think a lot of people don't know a whole lot. You know, we know that the famous people, we don't know a whole lot about these people that we see singing in church basements or maybe in small clubs or that sort of thing, maybe an occasional festival." He said, "Well, follow me." And as I got to know Frank over that time, I got to see a man who, quite honestly, became one of the best friends I ever had. A man of integrity, a man of intelligence, a man of wisdom, a man who, Frank dealt with a lot of physical issues. He had a kidney transplant back around 2000, which got in the way of performing, of course. But then he had to take an enormous number of meds every day. He didn't. He wasn't capable of holding a regular full-time job, but he would do gigs all along. So he wasn't making a lot of money, and yet he always had this spirit and this attitude, and I would say also a desire to use his music to lift people up. And if you have a chance to see the film, you'll see that a number of the songs that we captured in his live performances just they're stunning. And every single time I saw him perform over those 2 years, not as much as I would have, maybe 20 times. Every single performance, the people in the audience would just be overwhelmed with joy and excitement at having spent some time with him. So that's not a short answer to your question. Sorry, but that's how we got involved with Frank.
Wow. So, interestingly enough, we actually have seen the film, both Juan and myself. Great film. Never knew anything about Mr. Bay before watching this. And so I'm glad I got the opportunity to learn about his story, and that, that you were convinced as well to say, "Hey, yeah, this is a story that needs to be told." But I was just wondering, because the title is so fitting. Frank Bay, All My Dues Are Paid, because you hear of some of the trials and the turmoil and things that he's had throughout his career, over the span of his career, or kind of lack thereof, where there should have been more of a career, and these things that happened to him. So I'm actually surprised that he was maybe as gung-ho to jump in and say, "Yes, I'll do this." Sometimes you think that when people have had these kind of situations in this business, that they're like, no, or they're more guarded, or they're like,
Yeah.
you got to show me something else first before before I'm willing to do it. So it didn't sound like you had to do too much arm twisting, though.
No, not at all. Well, I think Frank was really touched by the idea of a film crew, as small as we were, following him, and and I guess in a kind of way, saying to him and to anyone who sees the film, what you're doing is important, and who you are is important. And a little funny story: we were in Baden, Switzerland. There's a little clip of that in the film at a festival, and Frank had arrived there about a day earlier than the band. And as you may recall in the film, there's a little bit of a conflict between the band and Frank. And here we have a small film crew in the lobby of this hotel, and the band comes in, and the band leader, and you just get this sense they're thinking, what's he doing with this film crew? Frank never said anything about that, but I always thought, all right. He really appreciated, I think, what we did. He gave us so much. I know he felt as if we were giving him so much, the time and the attention. Of course, he very likely would not have gone to Nashville to film the first record, which was a big deal, and which led to the second record, which was nominated for a Grammy. I mean, and not, I'm not claiming responsibility or anything like that for it, but it was, well, but because it was a part of the process, and because we were following him, it did garner a little bit more attention to him, and that was great for him. And so I think he was really happy to open to. There's only one time during the entire film when he wouldn't let us follow him, and I don't think we had this in the final cut. He had to see his doctor. This was toward the end of the 2 years to see whether or not he had to go back on dialysis, and he didn't want us to follow us in that doctor's appointment. Everything else he did, but he was really afraid that the doctor was going to tell him that he had to go back on dialysis, and he was afraid he'd break down. And there was something in him, I think, that didn't want to make himself that vulnerable. And I surely respected it, and understood. And he did have to go back onto dialysis. So he went back onto dialysis while we were still filming.
Wow.
So Felicia, the title of the podcast is Off the Cuff, right?
Yes.
Can we go off the cuff and ask Tom the question without giving it all away to make folks want to come watch the film in Cleveland, all right?
Let me just say, Juan has been itching to ask
I'm a
this
troublemaker,
question.
Tom. Sorry, I'm a troublemaker. Sorry.
Troublemakers, Juan.
Since we beautiful.
It's off the cuff. You never know what's going to happen off the cuff.
Throw the cuff, baby.
You open up the film with one of the biggest name drops in American history, and then people want to know what the heck happened. Frank said, I got in a fight with the Godfather, James Brown, and I quit. What were they fighting over, man? Come on. You can't just do that.
See, if I tell you that, I'm going to be putting it back on the cuff. But Frank was in a band. Frank was in a band from the early 70s until 1977 called the Moorish Vanguard. Musically, they were phenomenal. Earth, Wind and Fire, Sly Stone. They were so tight. They just had. In fact, we have if you recall in the film, we restored some of their music, and it is stunning and it's contemporary. It's that good. Well, the way that they would take their music out on the road was they would tour, and Frank was insistent in taking their music to the South. He always felt that he came from the South. He wanted to take his music out to the South, and the band, he felt, I use the word preached the idea of acceptance, love, understanding, justice. That was really part of what they did. So they're going down. Frank grew up in Millen, Georgia, and Frank knew James Brown somehow, and I don't know exactly how he met him. James Brown had a studio in Augusta, which was about maybe, I don't know, 3 hours from Millen. And somehow Frank had arranged to have some studio time at James Brown's studios. They went out, they went to the studio while they were on this tour. They went in, they knocked out a 45, and that's that. Until about 6 weeks later, on the radio, they heard the record. Well, that's nice, except when the DJ started talking about who had made it, it was a James Brown production made by James Brown, and James Brown's name was all over the place. The band felt as if Frank had engaged in some kind of a con man shady deal, and the band got super angry at Frank. And because they had this real feeling of closeness, when the band abandoned Frank in somewhere in northern Florida with no clothing, no money, no anything, he couldn't believe it. And that was the James Brown incident that just broke Frank down. He couldn't sing for 17 years. He was so hurt by that. We don't go into that depth in the movie, so it's sort of off the cuff.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you for sharing though, because once you guys see the movie, like Juan and myself, we're like, well, what happened? Like, I need the tea, okay? So I'm glad Tom is here to give us the tea, and it was some tea.
Yeah. One of the statements in the movie that jumped out, and as it says, "Be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there." It's just like a motto that Frank lived by. I'm gonna try to adapt that in my life. Like, it can mean a lot of things. Just be where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there, and everything else will take care of itself, except with James Brown. Don't be like
Skip that one.
I'm glad you picked that out, because as you watch the film, you see not only in his personal life, but often he was nominated for these awards. And he said to me one time, winning or losing is immaterial. I want to be where I'm supposed to be. I want to be on that stage. I want to do what I can do. And he not only gave, but he got. When his kidney disease was getting really, really advanced, I saw him a couple of times get on the stage where he had to be helped onto the stage. He'd do the performance, and he just picked up. He was filled with life and with excitement and beautiful singing. And then the show was over, and he'd get off, and he was spent. I'd had to almost hold him up in his chair. And I think, what a wonderful way to live your life. He knew what he had to do. He'd go there and do it. And I'm sure after he left, he'd often think, I did it. I did it. And I'm glad I did it. And I gave people something important. He's a wonderful person. He was a wonderful person.
And not only was he giving something, he was getting something. Like you said, the ability to get up there and still do, like, this was literally giving him life, to be able to get out there and just do what he loved. Did he get a chance to view any of the film?
He looked at some of the rough footage, but not much. We were always so busy, and he was, and then his health issues kicked in, so he didn't see too much of it, no.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is unfortunate. I hope his family has gotten a chance, or uh-oh. It sounds like Tom has some more tea now.
We need to go to Hollywood and sit at Tom's table.
We need to go to the real Hollywood. Hollywood, Pennsylvania is the real Hollywood, okay? We need to know what is going on. I'm sensing some family drama.
Not in Hollywood. No way.
Not drama at all. His wife, Tony, you see her. She is just a bundle of beautiful energy and just positivity. And we showed the film in my house, along with the guitar player, Jeff, her guitar player, and Jeff's wife. And they came over, and Tony was just overwhelmed. It was, it's funny. She's not in the film a lot. She comes in more in the second half, and everybody says, "Oh, that woman is so inspiring. She's so likable." It's funny. A lot of times you wonder, is that person really like that? She really is like that. She's just and I've gotten very close to her over the last couple of years. So it's been a wonderful, yeah. She saw it, but unfortunately Frank hasn't.
Way to bring it back. Way to bring it back, because
Yeah.
that was going to be a headline, like drama within. Way to bring it back. Way to bring it back.
Our hope is to take the film, and we're trying to work out the details, back to Millen, Georgia. One of the scenes in the film has a reunion at his mother's church, and there are a lot of people there. I'm going to guess 40 or 50 people, and I'd love to take the film back and be able to show that to them. So we'll see how that works out.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be really, really great. Now, are you planning on joining us here in Cleveland?
Yes, we will be there.
Oh, yay! We have to do our own sound effects around here. So
This one right there. You can hit it. Yeah.
Oh, but that's great. Have you been to Cleveland ever before?
I've never been to Cleveland, no.
Oh, so this is just first time all the way around.
That's
so
right.
Great. I'm so
Here
for it.
Take you to the finest cuisine around here.
Yeah.
I love that idea. That's wonderful. I felt your festival, little plug. Everyone that I've engaged with has just been so helpful, so warm, so engaging, and not that other festivals aren't that way, but I put you at the top of my list. It's just been wonderful being with all of you.
It's the Cleveland way, man. The best kept secret. It's the Cleveland way.
Well, we try. We are doing. It really is a labor of love. We've been doing this thing for. This is our 11th year. And we just somehow keep making it happen every year, and meeting such great people such as yourself, and seeing great films such as yours. So thank you for being a part of it. Looking forward to you coming here to the city, and being able to discuss this a little bit more with a Cleveland audience. And I just want to say, you have really great hair.
Put him on the solo. Let's get him post up on the screen. What are you looking like?
We need you to do one of those like old school modeling things where you like
hair club for me.
Turn around real slow.
One time. Make sure you. Can we get that on the solo there?
Oh, great.
And I think this picture really captures Frank at his wonderful best as a performer. He was so good. And I hope that in our film we've captured a little bit of him. And I hope people will see that in the film as they watch it.
That is a great photo. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I sent a full poster out to you, so it's somewhere in your office. So I hope you have a chance to take a big one. So
yes, and we will be circulating it around our social media. So
wonderful.
If you're not following us, please do at GCUFF Cleveland, and please share how folks can stay in touch with you.
Oh yes. Well, I'll start by saying if you're interested in the film, it's frankbayfilm.com. You can check us out there, and there's a place that you can leave notes and questions for me. And if you're interested in Frank's music, we worked on 2 albums. This is the first one. This is All My Dues Are Paid, and this is the one that we follow Frank through the film. And this is, I said this is All My Dues Are Paid. This is Back in Business. Excuse me. See, There we go. And this is All My Dues Are Paid. This is the one that was nominated for a Grammy. And both of these, you can hear little snippets of it on Frank Bay Music. And also there are other albums that are available too. If you go on YouTube, just type his name in, and there's a lot of clips of him performing that are really quite good.
Yeah. Excellent singer. Excellent. I mean, that recording session just looks like it was just a bunch of one takes.
Oh, it's funny. They were all professionals, and they couldn't believe it. They never had to go back for Frank. Oh, the drummer was off. Oh, the bass was off. Never Frank. It was amazing.
Wow. Juan, you had a question?
Well, I remember in the film, he was saying how the genres in music was getting so meshed, like, blues and soul has become one thing. So, since you, as an ambassador for Cleveland, Felicia, when you come here, make sure you stop by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's right downtown, so sure you have a good time. Yeah.
And that's funny you said that. You know, just yesterday the internet was all abuzz because Puffy, or Diddy,
Love, whatever his name.
Love, whatever it is now, tweeted R&B is dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it got.
it's not. Oh, it's not. You know, you go to one of these festivals to Memphis, you just hear people that you say, "Why don't I know them better?" Which is how we felt about Frank. It's not.
So can we go off the cuff and get Tom to tell Puff Daddy he's lost his mind that R&B isn't that? Off the cuff and get Tom. Don't say that, Tom. I'll say it.
You bring the daddy. You bring the daddy, and I'll tell him.
Oh man, this is funny.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us all the way from Hollywood, PA, that is. And we are so excited. Yeah, we are so excited that you will be coming here to join us. So we'll actually get a chance to meet you in person.
Yeah.
I'll get an up close look at the hair.
Oh yeah.
We'll have to get a selfie. Like that is, make sure this is on your list of Cleveland to-dos, is that you have to take a selfie with Juan.
She's not playing. Oh, because I used to have that. Because my hair is gone. It's fine.
Yes. Juan is very jealous right now. So, yeah.
I'll ask you offline about the secret. We'll talk about that later. All right.
You look good, man. That's all I'm saying. You look good.
Good answer. Good answer.
Well, thank you so much. Has this prompted you to, are you now wanting to work on any more projects, any other documentaries in particular, anything that you're able to share?
Well, the answer is right now, we're so focused on getting this film out into the world that I can't even think beyond this, you know? Well, you probably know, or spoken to other filmmakers, the big thing now is to find someone who may want to work with us to really get it out so more eyes can see it. And I would love this Frank story. Yes, and it's not about me. It's not about, I don't expect to make money. But I want the world to hear Frank's story because I think it's that important and that meaningful.
Absolutely. It's going to happen. So in the meantime, make sure you guys visit the website, which was it Frank Bay Film?
Yes, Frank Bay Film or Frank Bay Movie. The film part is to me, the movie is to his label. Or the music, I'm sorry, Frank Bay Film, Frank Bay Music.
Got it. So check him out there. Make sure you guys come and check out Tom when he comes to Cleveland for the very first time ever. Let's be some gracious hosts and make sure he has a good time. And thanks again.
Thank you.
We enjoyed you.
And I you.
Take care.